Hello and welcome. Today we're looking at the Eachine E58 pocket drone, courtesy of BangGood.com. Check out their website for other cool quadcopters just like this one. This particular one has 720p HD Wi-Fi streaming and has a very cool look along with altitude hold. So let's check it out. Now the drone comes in this small square box. Showing the quadcopter. It's a Eachine E58 pocket drone, and it lists all of its features right down here. 360 flips, 6-axis gyro, so on and so forth. Here you can see another view of the quadcopter. Here is a side view. So let's check it out. Simple to open. Put it here on the side here. Up. So right here we have the instruction manual, and it's a very detailed manual in several languages. So that's that. We have this plastic sleeve here, and here we have the transmitter. Bears a very strong resemblance to the DJI transmitters for the Spark or the Mavic. And here we have the quadcopter all folded up, and it's very cool looking here as it's folded. So we're going to unfold that here in just a second and take a closer look. Here we have the propeller guards. And then here we have a baggie with a micro USB cable, which is basically the charger for the batteries, 4 spare propellers, and a screwdriver. And then this particular package underneath here comes with 2 extra batteries. So I believe there's a package with no extra batteries, 1 extra battery, and I believe up to 2. So this particular package came with 2 extra spare batteries. Here's a quick final look at everything in the box. As we said, the manual. Here is the screwdriver, which you would need either to replace the propellers or to change the batteries on the transmitter, because they both involve screws. Here's the micro USB cable. Here are 4 spare half propellers, because this works in the same style as the DJI Mavic or the Spark. That they work in half propellers. So if you chip half of a propeller, you would have the replacement there, but it's not a whole propeller. So, and here are your 4 blade guards, which are very easy to put on. You just snap them on from the bottom, so you don't need any screws for that. And here are the spare batteries, and that's essentially it. And here's the quadcopter unfolded. So let's take a closer look at the quadcopter. Now here is the Eachine E58 Emotion drone, as you can see right there at the bottom, called the Emotion drone. And it's a really cool looking drone. It bears a very strong resemblance to the DJI Mavic, only a bit smaller. It's very light. It has a rubberized plastic coating on it, so it feels very nice. It has 2 main lights there at the front. It has the 720p tiltable camera right here at the bottom. As you can see, you can tilt it 90 degrees. And now this camera is not tiltable remotely. You have to tilt it prior to takeoff. Right down here you have a little slot here for an SD card. It didn't come with an SD card, but you can put one in there. And you can either save video on that or on the app. It has a light indicator here at the top. Here are the neat landing legs that it has, and then of course it is foldable. You've got to fold the landing leg that doesn't have the protruded landing leg at the bottom. You have to fold that first. So you just fold this one, and you got to make sure the propellers are in, and then you just fold this one in like this, and then fold this one in like this, like that. And so that's how it looks. We fold this one. Let's do this one now. And let's fold this one right here. And so this is how it looks when it's all compacted. Very sleek, very nice. As you can see, there's also an additional light back here. Here is the battery bay. And to briefly discuss the battery, this has a 3.7 volt, 500 milliamp LiPo battery. And it's very proprietary. As you can see, there's a micro USB port here on the battery to charge it, and the battery itself has a light on it, a red light that indicates that it's being charged, and that light will turn off once it has finished charging. But yeah, essentially it's just with a basic micro USB cable. So the good news is if you have several of these micro USB cables, you can charge several of these batteries at the same time. Now the charge time for this is about an hour and a half, and the flight time is about 8 minutes or so. So not a bad flight time. So that's essentially it with the quadcopter. Very neat looking, very cool, lightweight, and has a decent size to it. Not super small, but not too big. It has just the right amount of size to it. But yes, really sleek looking quadcopter. So now let's take a closer look at its transmitter. Now here is the transmitter. It takes 3 AAA batteries here at the back, and it has a screw to keep it in. 3 AA batteries, and then you have to screw that in. This will not snap in place, so you should be careful not to lose a screw, because that's the only way to hold the back plate for the batteries. But moving on to the front here, it also has this extending bottom portion that you could slide in your cell phone, and it's really neat. So you can put your cellular device in there for Wi-Fi FPV. And as far as the controls, you have the traditional throttle and rudder. You have the auto takeoff, auto land button. So these are arrows pointing up and down, even though it kind of looks like a little house. So auto takeoff, auto land. These arrows are trims. So this is the left, right trim, forward and back trim. This is your on-off switch. We have these 2 foldable antennas. I'm not sure if they're for aesthetic reasons or they're actually utilized, but we have these foldable antennas. And then we have 4 buttons here at the top, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. This one right here is to, you short press it to take a picture, and long press it to start recording video. This one, you short press it supposedly for headless mode, and you long press it for a 1-key return. And then here on the right side, this first one here is your speed switch. So you basically have low, medium, high denoted by beeps. Single beep, 2 beeps, and 3 beeps is the highest. And then this last button right here is your flip button. Basically this flips in 2 directions, left and right. It doesn't seem to have a forward and back flip. So that's essentially it. Let's go over a first time flight of this. So preparing this for a first time flight is very straightforward. Once you have the fully charged battery inserted and the legs are fully extended and your SD card is popped in there, you simply turn on the quadcopter by keeping this top button pressed for a second or 2. Once you see that flashing, you would turn on the transmitter, like so. Then you need to bind it. So you would put the throttle up and down until you hear a beep, or a couple of beeps. Now this blinking has stopped, so you are officially bound. A good recommended first step is to calibrate the gyro. So once this is at the ground level, and it's on a flat surface not moving, you would bring the throttle and rudder to the lower right just for a second until you hear a beep and see some flashes. And once that stops, it's been calibrated. So you just do this, you bring them both, and then now it's been calibrated with its gyros. So you should have a smooth, stable flight. So once in your Wi-Fi settings, you look for an entry that says Wi-Fi 720p, and you just simply connect to that. And there's no default Wi-Fi password or anything like that. It should just connect within a second or two. Once that's done, you go to the app, and the app is called JYUFO, and it looks like this. And you could find that in the Android or iOS app stores. JYUFO. So you enter in there, and you will have this screen here where you have some settings and help, but the main one you want to go in is play. And as you can see right now, we have a live Wi-Fi feed, very clear, very nice. And to briefly go over the app, this will take you back. This icon here will take a picture. This one will take a video. This will access your photo library. This will change your rates. So you have 30, 60, and 100, your 3 rates of speed. This will apply altitude or not, altitude hold. This will allow you to fly using the phone's accelerometer if you want. Now, if you did, you can fly this either with the transmitter, both the transmitter and the app, or just the app by itself. And if you decide to go using the app, what you have to do is simply not bind the transmitter. You just do not turn on the transmitter and follow the steps that we did, connecting through the Wi-Fi settings and then entering the app. And you may have to wait a few seconds until it grabs the connection, but once you do that without binding or turning on the transmitter, you should be allowed to utilize the app for flying. So this will allow you to use the accelerometer to fly the drone. Here are the virtual controls. So if you turn those on, you can you have your throttle and rudder, your emergency stop, your trims. This is your auto takeoff, auto land. Here are your 360 flips, and I believe this has voice command, so you can push this and tell it to go forward, backward, and it will follow the voice commands. This lock, I believe, is headless mode. You can turn off the virtual controls. You can go into settings here. You can flip the camera or the view that you get, so put it upside down. You can undo that as well. You can split the screen for VR goggles and have that. You can also, I believe this calibrates the gyros. This will allow you to, I think this will allow you to, draw a waypoint. If you click this setting here, you can use the throttle for altitude and then just draw a path, and the drone will fly that path. So that's very neat. And this is probably, this is the auto land. And this maybe this is headless mode as well. So that's essentially it with the controls. And as I mentioned earlier, there are additional settings here that you can change the quality of the video and also access some help for the app. But that's essentially it. So let's take this for a first-time flight and look at some footage.